Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things and welcome to another video, and today I thought I would do a bit of a book haul. So I will probably do another book haul in the new year after Christmas, talking about some books that I may or may not receive for Christmas, but I thought I would do a book haul just before Christmas to talk about the books that I have acquired in the last few months. So this video may be a little bit bitty. Basically what happened was that I pre-filmed a book haul video at the very beginning of December, thinking that I wouldn't acquire anything else for the rest of the month, and then I got through the post 4 very exciting review copies that I want to talk about soon. So I'm gonna do the beginning of the video in the future and then flip back to me in the past for the rest of the video. I have dressed in the same way just for continuity, but there we go. But before I get into the book haul, I did actually want to talk about this dress that I'm wearing. As you can see, it is covered in books, which is very exciting. This is a dress that I recently bought from the clothing company Joni. When I was doing my Christmas gift guide video, which I will link down below, I noticed that this dress was on sale on their website and I really wanted to buy it because it's covered in books, so I did. And it's going to be really hard not to wear it in every single video because it is so appropriate for BookTube. So I want to start off with some review copies that I've been sent by publishers or other companies in the last couple of months. And I'm going to start with a book that I'm very excited to read, and that is this. This is The Lost Future of Peper Harow by Natasha Pulley. Now, those of you who have been watching my channel for a while may know that The Watchmaker of Filigree Street, which was Natasha Pulley's first book, is one of my favourite novels of all time. I also absolutely love The Bedlam Stacks, which is her second book, which I read earlier this year, and I'm so excited for her third book because she is amazing. And this is going to be amazing, and also is a sequel to The Watchmaker of Filigree Street, at least in part, and continues on with several of the characters from The Watchmaker of Filigree Street. One character from The Watchmaker of Filigree Street did appear in The Bedlam Stacks, but not for like a huge proportion of the text, but I think this is a more direct sequel to The Watchmaker of Filigree Street. Also, it is set in 19th century Japan. I am excited. I'm pretty certain that this is going to be fantastic. Natasha Pulley is an amazing writer. I've loved both of her previous books. She writes so beautifully and she has such a fantastic way of capturing a historical period, particularly the 19th century. So this is just going to be amazing, and I'm so excited. I have so many things I need to read over Christmas. I have so many books I've been meaning to read for ages. I have lots of work reading to do, but I also kind of want to just drop everything and read this because it's going to be amazing, and I'm so excited. I feel like as well this is the first time I've received a bound proof of a book by like one of my absolute favourite authors. I have received bound proofs before from authors who I love and from authors who I've read their previous books and really enjoyed them. But Natasha Pulley would be in my like top favourite living authors with Diane Setterfield and John McGregor and Bernard Yoshimoto and Emily St. John Mandel, and I'm so excited to have got a proof of this, and I'm so excited to read it, and I'm very excited. I'm going to move on to other books now and share my excitement. But yeah, if you haven't read anything by Natasha Pulley, you really should. This is coming out in March. The publisher Bloomsbury very kindly sent me a proof copy, and I'm really keen to get to it and read it before it comes out. So yeah, exciting. Next book. Another bound proof I've received recently, which I'm very excited about, is this. This is Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, who is the author of Convenience Store Woman, which is a novel that I read last year and really enjoyed. And this is her second novel to be translated into English. I do not know very much about this. I really enjoyed Convenience Store Woman, so I'm definitely excited to read her next book. The publisher Granta are, at this stage at least, only doing a really limited run of proofs. Literally, I have number 17 out of 50, which is really exciting. So this is not coming out until October 2020. Like I said, I don't know very much about it. The tagline on the back is, "How far would you go just to be yourself?" So I feel like there's going to be similar themes to Convenience Store Woman. And yeah, I'm really excited to read this, so we will see what it is like, and I will talk about it more once I have finished. Another review copy I was sent is this. This is Miss Austen by Jill Hornby, and Century, the publishers, very kindly sent me a finished copy. This is publishing in January, and this is a novelisation, a fictionalised account of the life of Cassandra Austen, who is Jane Austen's sister, kind of looking at Jane and Cassandra's relationship and Cassandra's life, both with and without Jane. Cassandra lived many years after her sister's death. I think this is going to be a really interesting read. As most of you know, I am a huge Jane Austen fan. I love Jane Austen a lot. She's also the author, I would say, about whose life I know the most. Like a lot of my other favourite authors, Dickens and Gaskell, I know like a little bit about their life, but I don't know masses. Whereas Jane Austen, I've read several biographies of, and I know much more about her life, and I know quite a lot about her sister Cassandra. And in fact, the whole Austen family really fascinate me. The six brothers of the Austen sisters as well are absolutely fascinating. So I'm hoping this will go into their characters as well. So I feel like on the one hand, I'm going to find this really interesting, both from the Jane Austen perspective and also because I find the Austen family in general really interesting, but also because I know quite a lot about them and because I've like thought about the Austen family a lot. I don't know if there might be things that don't like match up to my imagination of the Austen family in my head. Hopefully I'll get to this in the next couple of months. If I don't, I will definitely end up reading it for Jane Austen July. But hopefully before then, because I'm really excited about this one. I think it could be really interesting. Next, I have Sweet Bean Paste by Duran Sikigawa. So this was very kindly sent to me in the post by Austen Books, who are a book subscription company who do run a subscription where they send you a Japanese book every month. So they very kindly sent me a sample book from their subscription service along with a very cute little Japanese bookmark. I'm really excited to read Sweet Bean Paste. So when I did my video on like my favourite Japanese novels on this channel, the one that most people recommended to me that I hadn't read yet was Sweet Bean Paste, and a lot of people were like, oh, you'll really like this based on your other tastes. So I think this could be a really good one. This sounds absolutely lovely. I think it's going to be a really sweet and moving novel. It follows this life of one man who kind of feels that he's failed with everything in his life, and then he meets this elderly woman and they kind of become friends, and that affects his life in some way. I think it could be really good. I'm really looking forward to this one because I've heard such good things about it. And now that I've got through all the books that I accidentally acquired in December, onto my past self. So I want to start off with a review copy. This is Jill by Amy Dillwyn, which Harow Press very kindly sent me a review copy of. So Harow Press are an independent Welsh publisher, and they publish modern fiction, but they also publish out-of-print classics by female Welsh writers. And this is Jill by Amy Dillwyn, which I am very excited to read for two reasons. The first is that I have read another book by Amy Dillwyn, which was The Rebecca Rioter, which I really enjoyed. And the second reason is that apparently this is a Victorian novel with a lesbian relationship at the heart of it, so I'm very intrigued by that. I think this is going to be a really interesting read. I'm very excited to have it on my shelves, and I'm sure I will be getting to it at some point next year. For my Christmas gift guide video that I mentioned earlier, and which I will link down below, the bookish website Bookishly very kindly sent me one of their like book crates, and in it were two books, so I feel I should mention them here. One is The Little Prince, which is a French classic I have been meaning to read for ages. I have now read it and I really enjoyed it. It's really good fun, and it's also very short and full of lovely little illustrations, which sometimes is really nice and what you need. Also, I didn't realise this when I was filming my Christmas gift guide, but what Bookishly do in all of their crates is they like create a new jacket for it. So the book is actually Wordsworth Classics, but they've like wrapped it up really nicely, and I really like this cover that they have made, so I'm gonna keep this on. And the other little classic they sent me was The Distance of the Moon by Italo Calvino, which I've also read because it was very short and I thought I would, and I really enjoyed this. It's a little collection of short stories, all of which are sort of, they're not exactly science fiction, they're sort of somewhere between science fiction and magic realist, but I really enjoyed them. They were really weird, but in a good way. Not weird like Borges where I don't understand it, but weird in a way where I got what he was saying and it was enjoyable. So I've always like been afraid of Italo Calvino because I don't know why, but I had in my head that he was going to be weird in a way that I would just find confusing. But actually, I really enjoyed these, and it was good to have a little small selection to start with, so maybe I will try more in the future. Talking of small classics, I also bought myself two Penguin Littleback classics in October. One of them is The Gate of the Hundred Sorrows by Rudyard Kipling, which is a few of his short stories. I read this during Victober. I quite enjoyed it, but as often with Kipling's writing, I found I enjoyed the writing, but like the plot didn't have the emotional impact I wanted it to. But then I also got myself this. This is a pair of silk stockings by Kate Chopin, and this has a few of Kate Chopin's stories in it. And I really loved this a lot. I really like this. I'm really glad I read it. So I'm really looking forward to reading more by Kate Chopin in the future, because I kind of heard of her a bit, especially of The Awakening, but I hadn't like properly got around to reading anything by her yet. But I love these short stories, and I feel like it's so difficult to write a good short story as well, but I feel like these were like Catherine Mansfield quality of like really excellently done. So compact and concise, but so powerful as well. I also got one ebook during Victober, which was Alec Forbes of Howglen by George MacDonald, which again I read during Victober. I really enjoyed this. This is a great Victorian novel set in Victorian Scotland, and we follow the relationship between one young woman and one young man. And it's kind of a sort of Bildungsroman romance for both of them in a way, but looks at some really interesting issues. Then two other classics that I recently acquired. This is The Female Detective by Andrew Forrester. This is another Victorian classic and one that I've heard quite a lot about and have been meaning to get for ages. And this is a Victorian novel from the 1860s where the main character is a female detective in a time where there were no female detectives in Britain. So I think this is going to be a really interesting read and hopefully a fun one. So I'm looking forward to getting to this at some point next year. And then I also bought a Persephone classic. I was actually in Persephone buying Christmas presents for other people, but they have like a deal in Persephone where if you buy 3, they're all slightly cheaper. And I had found 2 that I wanted to give to other people, so obviously I had to get myself one. And this is The Woman Novelist and Other Stories by Diana Gardner. I don't know much about this, but the title really appealed to me. I enjoy short stories, and I'm trying to like build up my collection of non-Victorian classics. Is that true? I know that one of my plans for next year is to read more non-Victorian classics, but also I would like to read books that I own, and therefore I seem to be buying myself some non-Victorian classics, which is not the idea of that challenge, but that's okay. I will read this hopefully at some point next year. It's also very short. This collection of short stories is from the 1940s, and I think the basic kind of premise of it is that it is about women not behaving in the way that society is necessarily expecting them to behave at that time, which I think sounds great, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I have 2 more books to mention before we go. One is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. Now, this is a novel that I have already read. I picked this up in October because I saw it in a bookshop, and I happened to have some money left on a book token, and I just thought it sounded really interesting. This tells the story of this cafe in Tokyo where if you sit in a particular seat at a certain time, you can go back in time and talk to someone who had previously sat in that cafe, which I just think is quite a fun premise, and it's done very well. It's a nice, sweet, lovely story, and I would definitely recommend it. And then I also bought in October The Faculty of Indifference by Guy Ware. So earlier this year I was shortlisted for the London Short Story Prize, and my story was published in this anthology here, which is very exciting. That's why I'm holding this up too. Guy Ware was the winner of the London Short Story Prize. So Guy invited all of us who have been longlisted for the Short Story Prize along to his book launch, which is really cool. Had a really nice time. It was nice to see everyone again and to see lots of the people from Spread the Word who run the London Story Award there as well. And he read a little bit from his book and talked about it, and it just sounded fantastic, so I thought I would buy it. I think it's going to be a really interesting and slightly different one. It's about a man and the relationship he has with his son, who's a sort of older teenager and shortly to leave home. His wife died a little while ago, and he's kind of struggling with that, and also with his slightly odd job in a place called the Faculty of Indifference. So I'm really looking forward to reading this at some point next year. And that is it. Those are all of the books that I have acquired in the last few months. Do let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these and what you thought of them, and that's it. I'll be back very soon with another bookish video.